G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action. I'm here to do the Heavy Metallurgy Metal Tag of 2025. 20 questions to go over, so let's get into it. So firstly, before I do get into it, big thanks to everyone who watched my Best of Metal 2024 video. It's doing very well, has a lot of responses, getting a lot of really good comments of your favorite releases of 2024, picking up a lot of things that I did miss, which is exactly what I expected. You can't listen to everything. And yeah, so do check that one out. The link will be at the very end, one of those little tile deals that I point to, so go check that one out. But this video today is the Heavy Metallurgy Presents Metal Tag of 2025. For the second year running, Heavy Metallurgy have taken on the mantle of running the Metal Tag. If you've not been in one of these or seen one of these before, it's a really casual way to start the year. Really good way for new channels as well to get themselves established and just do something without needing to really prepare too much. It took me all of 10 minutes to prepare for this. Yeah, we just go through 20 questions that have been set up by Alan and Marty over at Heavy Metallurgy. And yeah, we just show stuff, talk about stuff. That's what this is all about, community type thing. So yeah, let's go. Question number 1, hype. Name a release you are eagerly anticipating in 2025. I haven't seen like a full list of what's coming up. Don't really know the full gambit of what I should be expecting. But one thing I do know that's coming in February, and I've heard one track from, and it's fantastic, is the new Frenolith album. Ashen Womb comes out in sort of like first week of February, second week of February. They are a Danish dark death metal band. They really impressed me with their first 2 albums, particularly the last one, Chimera. Got members of K-Ocean, Undergang. I mean, everyone in Denmark has been in Undergang at some point. It's a bit like Finland being in Horner. There's always that connection. Yeah, so the 2021 album, Chimera, was really big highlight for me of that year. The single track they've released so far from Ashen Womb is Stagnated Blood. It's on their Bandcamp. I'll link it in the description. That is a furious monster. It's got that thick and ugly sound that they're really well known for. Just showcases Frenolith's Danish version of Immolation. It's furious fire, and it's so good. So if the whole album's going to be like that, which I'm sure it will, it's going to be a really top contender for the 2025 end of year list. So yeah, really looking forward to Frenolith, Ashen Womb. Question number 2, show the 25th item, LP, CD, tape, whatever in your collection. A few different ways I could have handled this. My CDs are alphabetized, my LPs are alphabetized, but they're sectioned by subgenre. Yeah, I mean, I could have picked one of those, but what I ended up doing is just go to Discogs, sort alphabetically across all of the formats, and see what happened. And the 25th thing that I own is Abigor Apocalypse, the original CD, and what a great one to pull out. One of my absolute favorites from Abigor. Abigor is one of my favorite bands. They'd be in a top 10 of bands all time. So pulling this one out makes me very happy. It's one of my favorite releases from them. Short EP they did between 2 albums in 1997. This Apocalypse EP came after Opus 4 and before Supreme Immortal Art. And it's just one of my favorites. It is stripped back. It's like they were getting a little bit more symphonic from, Nactimon, the third album was starting to get a bit more symphonic and melodic and that kind of thing. Opus 4, similar pathway. Supreme Immortal Art, after this one, was full on, very, very symphonic. This one in the middle, they unplugged the keyboards, did a direct like press record and play kind of deal, and this EP is just absolutely furious. It is the pure essence of black metal distilled in 17 minutes and 6 tracks. My original Napalm Records press there with the Modern Invasion Australia import sticker of authenticity, as we all like to have for our Australian copies here. I mean, even the design is all stripped back. It's just black and white. Fantastic EP from a fantastic band. The 25th thing in my collection is Abigor Apocalypse. Question number 3, Overdue. Name an older band that you checked out for the first time in 2024 and loved. Had quite a few to pick from here. In sort of the middle of the year, I was very lucky to take part in the purchase of uh, a collection that was being sold. A few of us were. Brendan Von Doom was another one. And yeah, a guy in, I think, in Melbourne was selling on some Facebook groups his entire collection, and a lot of that was bang on 80s metal, speed, thrash, that kind of stuff, and a bunch of stuff which was just ticking off the grails for me, amazing. But I also uh, took a chance on a few things where I'd seen the name, or even a few things where I'd never even heard of the band before. And one of the ones where I remember seeing the name and the cover, and not much more than that, was this band. I'm so glad I picked them up. This is Target, band out of Belgium. I'll try and hold it better. Got two albums here: Mission Executed and Master Project Genesis. Um, yeah, so band out of Belgium, like I said, technical thrash band. 87 and 88 were the releases that came out here. When I first heard it, it appealed to me instantly in the way that like Hexenhaus, Heathen, and Toxic did. Very much Toxic. Great thrash bass, but it shows enough technical prowess, particularly in the guitars, without sort of losing itself to just all kinds of wankery or anything like that. It's still just it's a thrash album. They just really know their chops. And yeah, got both of these together from that OG vinyl haul. So I was thrilled, and the band is great. So there's the first one. Great stuff. I love their big logo too. I changed it up a bit on this one. Definitely looking a little bit more 90s here. You get into that, and definitely look at it. Those prog glasses, my god. But anyway, great stuff here. Target, one of the bands that I learnt of in 2024, and I'm really thrilled that I picked them up. Question number 4: Feeding the Monkey. Alan came up with that title. How do you purchase most of your music? Local store, Bandcamp, etc. I don't think there is a most of for me. It's probably fairly evenly split amongst every different option that I use. If you see my shopping videos, you'll see me going into some physical stores in Sydney. I like going into Repressed Records, Utopia Records, Egg Records, Papa Disco. They're sort of the main ones I like to go into. I like buying from online Australian stores, with online record stores from other states, is what I should be saying. So the Searchers in Melbourne get a lot of my money. Max from Faceless Burial appears to work at the Searchers, because I do see his stuff show up quite a bit. Black Sound, who was just an online store but have now opened their shop in Melbourne. Yeah, I like buying from record stores in other parts of the country as well. Online local distros, Seance Records gets a lot of my money for black metal. Total War, I think they're in Queensland, gets a lot of my money, particularly for MSUO releases. Invictus Productions, he gets all their stuff in. That's really, really helpful. Sphere of Apparition, get a lot of really cool stuff in, particularly Everlasting Spew releases, which can be kind of difficult to get otherwise. So yeah, plenty of good options there. International distros, I like to buy from MSUO, who have got not just a good label, but a great distro as well. Dark Descent, Nameless Graves, Amorfati, Iron Bonehead, NWN, Blood Harvest. Like a lot of the labels have really good distros, so that's worth checking their stuff as well. Yeah, so that's some options there. I use Discogs mainly, like 99% of the time, Discogs just Australian. Haven't really bothered too much with international Discogs. Probably only maybe half a dozen times since I've been ever using Discogs. I don't know why, I just haven't really. There's been a lot of good Australian options there. eBay, again, tends to just be Australian eBay. Occasionally, international eBay for records and CDs, but usually not so much. Bandcamp, I like buying directly from the bands when they have physical copies. That can be sometimes really good. Sometimes it's not as cost effective as going to a distro, but sometimes it can be, and you get the MP3 version to chuck on your phone at the same time, which is nice. And I do use Amazon Australia. We have our own Amazon here, which is kind of like a catch-all. They have an official link to the US store, the UK store, and they show a lot of import. They call them imports, but they're treated as Australian items, and Prime free shipping applies. So that can sometimes get me to get some things. So yeah. And lastly, it would be I get pretty lucky sometimes on Facebook metal groups. I just spoke of then how I got those Target albums. I got a whole bunch through a few local Australian Facebook groups that are all metal specific. So yeah, I get stuff all over the place. I don't reckon there's any one that outweighs anything else. It's probably evenly distributed, but I definitely do like the in-store experience and rocking up at Repress Records for sure. Question number 5, Enigma. Show a heavy metal album that musically is hard to place in a heavy metal subgenre. Thankfully, with my CDs, they're A to Z, so I don't have this problem. If this was in LPs, it'd be a bit more difficult. I think I know where I'd put it, because where else would I going to put this? Soulfold with Linear Scaffold. I've had this thing since the late 90s. I would default this to black metal. I mean, they definitely have black metal in them, but geez, this is that late 90s, not not quite 2000s, but yeah, it was like 98. I think this thing came out. Um, all the bands were getting very avant-garde at that time. Well, a lot of them anyway. They were getting into that. Arcturus were starting to get there. Wintersorg were starting to get there. Vedbuen's End were already there. The first track on this thing, there's no tracks written on the back just to make it life easier. The first track on this would definitely reinforce me putting in the black metal part of the collection. It's just blasty with frenetic riffs and banshee vocals. He's got a nasty sound to him when he's doing the harsh vocals, but really it is mostly very avant-garde to just go into the same collection as Dark Throne and Emperor. The second track, Philosophical Revolt, is the one that sort of stands out to me of going, okay, this is a weird album. The middle of the song has just like hand clapping over this sort of ethereal kind of thing. Hand clapping gets me every time. It's so weird. There's a track called Countryside Bohemians. The first half is approaching Ulva in strangeness. Tequila Sunrise. I mean, even the names of the tracks. A black metal band with Tequila Sunrise. That's got like a spoken word over chamber organ. It's weird. Ultimately, I think you file this wherever you stick your Psy albums after Scorn Defeat. For me, it's just if I had this on LP, I'd probably just chuck it in black metal, because I don't know where else I would be putting it. Like I said, I've had this for ages. They do get weirder as they went on. The album after this, I think it's Neonism, was also weird. It's actually a bit too weird for me. I kind of like this one. This is the one Soulfold that I need. Yeah, I don't know. They're a weird one. You kind of do need a weird black metal section where you can put your Psy and your Vedbuen's End. I would be putting Soulfold there for sure. Number 6, Eating Crow, which is not a phrase I've heard before. Talk about an album that you used to hate, but after years it finally clicked with you. You can't get enough of it. I don't think there's anything that I own that I hated. It's quite a negative term. I couldn't think of anything that I hated, but I can tell you a band that I didn't get for a while. Going through my metal journey, I went very quickly from your Fear Factories and your Panteras and your Chaos AD Sepultura right into sort of brutal death metal, and then into ripping black metal. And I kind of stayed there, and that was all about ferocity and aggression. And bands like this didn't do it for me. Bolt Thrower, particularly with For Victory. I remember people introducing this to me, like, "Hey, you've got Bolt Thrower, pure death metal." I distinctly remember a conversation where I said, "This sounds like AC/DC." Of course, I was wrong, but I was like 19 or something. But they are a more straightforward. Obviously, we know this. They're way more straightforward, just heads down, heavy metal, death metal, lots of double kicks, all about the groove. And at that time, when I was getting into these more brutal bands and just scathing black metal, I wasn't about the groove, not whatsoever. If I wanted the groove, I wanted it with lots of slam and like Eternal Suffering and Skinless or something. Bolt Thrower weren't doing it for me. Got to probably 2007 or 8 or something like that when I kind of reapproached a lot of the original death metal. Death was also in this basket. Leprosy, I think was the first one I picked up. At the time, originally they didn't do much for me either, but I remember distinctly walking into one of the Red Eye Records stores in the city and seeing a few Bolt Thrower albums secondhand. This was one of them, and I picked up For Victory, and yeah, it all made sense after that point. I understood what was going on. Another one with the Modern Invasion, Australian import, Triangle of Approval here, original Earache. Pretty sure I picked up Wallmaster from the same Repressed, from the same Red Eye, probably the next week with the next paycheck kind of deal, and then just filled in the blanks around that. So yeah, obviously this is like top tier death metal. This album would be absolutely in my top 50 albums of all time. Cool. We could make a discussion about it being in top 30. That maybe one day, But yeah, look, I get it. I've gotten it for a long time. I've gotten it for getting close to 20 years, well over 15 years. But for a while, yeah, bolt thrower didn't make any sense to me. So yeah, eating crow. Well, I don't know about eating crow, but I'm definitely eating for victory. Question number 7: Impulse, show an album that you blind bought in 2024. I don't basically blind buy. Too scary. I know Marty likes to blind buy, and I know that's what you kind of used to do. And I used to do this back in the late 90s. I would walk into Red Eye Records and just buy stuff with a cover, and honestly, it bit me a lot more than you'd expect. I mean, it's the late 90s. You're taking a gamble, like 98, 99, 2000. I remember buying stuff going, that has a cool cover, getting home and going, oh, God, what have I done? There was a Mac Tardis album in there that was like this, and Jesus. So I don't tend to do that very often, but what I do is I pick up a cool cover and go, this looks good. It's on a cool label. Let's listen to it with my headphones on YouTube for 30 seconds. And that's my blind buy. And I did that with this one, Sanctifying Ritual. I picked this one up only probably about 2 months ago. You see it in one of my shopping videos. I got this from Repressed in the used section. Yeah, gave it the old 30-second sample while standing there in the shop and went, yep, that is enough. I will purchase this blindly. It's really good. German death metal release from 2020 on Iron Bonehead. Clearly somebody wanted to trade it in, and I'm picking it up. Really encapsulates well that early merciless, sadistic, intense sound, that dry, straightforward attack of death metal that I've been talking about this style for a while lately. Heaps of reverbed vocals. It's an ancient sounding thing. I really dug it, and I had no idea who these guys were, but yeah, this is their self-titled from 2020, Sanctifying Ritual. Not quite a blind buy, but it was definitely quite impulsive. Collector Scum, question number 8. Show a title that you own more than one pressing of the same format, CD, LP, vinyl, cassette, whatever. Yeah, so I don't have many things I could pick here. I'm not that guy that's like, Iron Maiden collector and have 27 copies of Number of the Beast in every color that you could possibly think of. That's not me. I don't have the space for it. Usually one and done with things, sometimes an LP and a CD, and very rarely, and this is one case where they are my favorite band of all time, and I didn't intentionally do this, but I just happened. Recaputrefaction. I have the original Earache cassette here with the really cool gory cover. There you go. I picked this up from Utopia Records used 25 years ago. Just because, it's my favorite band, and I don't even know if I had the way of playing it 25 years ago, but I bought it anyway because I'm like, yeah, tapes are cool, and this is an old tape. Yep, sounds pretty good considering. But my go-to copy of the time is this one. Now, yes, you may say Symphonies of Sickness, but this is that interesting edition that has all the Symphonies tracks and then all of the Reek tracks stuffed on the end. So this was my original copy of Reek for the longest time. It does just say Symphonies of Sickness, but it does have all of the Reek tracks. So that's how I listened to Reek for the longest of times, but not anymore. Now I have my immaculate condition original press vinyl of Recaputrefaction, and yeah, oh man, classic Jeff Walker collage there. Beautiful stuff with that original logo and all the bits and the horrible stuff happening on the back there. It's in beautifully mint condition. I want to get the whole thing out, but yeah, it is definitely a crowning jewel of my collection. And yeah, if it was going to be a band I was going to buy multiple things of, it was going to be Carcass, and yeah, it just happened to be Recaputrefaction. So there you go, Collector Scum. Question number 8, Carcass, Recaputrefaction. 3 formats. Question number 9, show off a grail. That is something you really wanted that you acquired in 2024. This came from that same seller that had all of the OG stuff for sale, and I was really, really, really happy to pick this one up. This band's become a bit of a white whale to get the original presses for me. Toxic with World Circus, and I was just so happy to get such a great album. I don't know why Toxic stuff is just really challenging. I know it's been reissued now, but I don't care about that. I need the originals. So yeah, this is the Roadrunner. It's in pretty great condition. It's been played clearly. I mean, I like it when the covers have got a little bit of battle damage. I just want the record to sound fantastic and not be, scratched to hell. And this was definitely one of those occasions where, yeah, nice strong VG plus their original Roadrunner pressing of Toxic World Circus with that great Ed Repka artwork. Yeah, definitely one of the grails I picked up in 2024. Question number 10, a plea to the VCLT gods. What is a grail item that you are still after and you're on the hunt for? Well, for me, it's the other Toxic album. Think this. Please, can somebody locate me a nice OG copy of that one? Absolutely need that to go with this album. But the one, uh, even more so than that, because it's just starting to annoy me, and I was actually kind of burnt on this one in 2024, is Sodom Persecution Mania. It is the only album I need of the German Big Four Teutonic thrash bands in their early sort of classic period. So Creator, Sodom, Destruction, and yeah, they're the three ones. I don't go after all Tankard stuff. But Creator, Sodom, and Destruction, the big three. The only one I need up to sort of their just before you get to 1990 kind of period is Persecution Mania, and I technically paid for that earlier this year as a seller on Facebook who appeared to be reputable. Others had vouched for. Had a white LP original, sent me photos of the white LP original. I paid for it, and so did four other people. None of us got it, and then it all came out of the woodwork that there was many records he was selling multiple copies of that nobody got. And that young man is now in jail for unrelated reasons, apparently. But yeah, I lost a little bit of money on that one, which was a shame. And so did others. Thankfully, I didn't go all in. Others had bought many records. I only bought the one, and yeah, I got screwed on that one. So Persecution Mania is up there as well as one that I really am on a mission to get because I already paid for it once and I need it. I don't want a picture disc. I just want the original Steam Hammer, black or white. That'd be great. So yeah, Toxic, Think This, and Sodom, Persecution Mania. Please, VCLT gods, please. Question number 11, a Boomerang album. Show an album that no matter how many times you purge it from your collection, another copy returns to you. So, I mean, this was a little bit difficult. I haven't purged something and then received it as a gift or anything like that. But if we're just talking about that I sold something or got rid of something and then bought it back, well, I bought this one back twice after selling it. Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like it's a favorite or anything. I just decided, look, I think this period of the band is a bit underrated, and I'm going to give it a go. And I gave it a go again twice. We're talking about Napalm Death Inside the Torn Apart from, what is this, 97, 98, or 97. It's not particularly a loved period of the band. Yeah, Inside the Torn Apart and the album that came after it generally, and Diatribes before it, I think that trilogy, a lot of people like to ignore, but and the band don't play anything from this or the album afterwards anymore. That's dead for them. But I don't know. In my older 40-year-old kind of age, I had the original back. Did I get it when it came out? Well, probably just soon after it came out. Never really grabbed me at the time. It suffered in one of the purges, and I forgot about it for 20 years. And then I think it was maybe 2 years ago, I lucked upon very cheaply this box set that had this album, Inside Torn Apart, the one after it, and the name is pissing me off that I can't remember it. Words Within the Exit Wound. There you go. Words from the Exit Wound. So, yes, I own that one too. There's a box set that had those two in it, and I think it's the Greed Killing EP, or I don't know, an EP from in there somewhere, maybe the Live Japan thing. I don't know. And I bought that box set. Very cheap. And it never really sat well with me because one, it was a box set and didn't sit with the rest of the albums on the shelf. And two, and this is getting nitty, like really, really picky about stuff. The the discs for those were plain with like just a font kind of logo, and I'm like, nope, no sir, cannot have that. If I'm gonna actually have these damn hated Napalm Death albums from the late 90s, I'm gonna have the originals. Thanks very much. So I got rid of that box set, and I found this one I got this one online, and I found the World's one in Egg Records just 6 months ago or something to replace the box set. So Yeah, here I am showing off particularly not loved Napalm Death, but honestly, okay, Worlds is pretty up. That's probably their worst album, but this one's got some good tracks in it. You just need to persist with it a bit, and same with Diatribes. Diatribes I sort of came all around on. The problem with Diatribes is the first track, Greed Killing. When you get past that, there's a lot of tracks in there that are very blasty and could have fallen, quite happily been on the album that came before it. But anyway, yeah, Inside the Torn Apart. I don't know. It's not the best, of course, but it's definitely not their worst. And this is the third time I've owned it. Question number 12. Reunion. Name an artist that you had lost track of over time and reconnected with in 2024. There's probably a few I could have picked from, but for me, it was Deteriorate. Now, this is a band that I think a lot of people just go, that's all they did. One and done. They did In Ancient Beliefs, and they did it in the 90s, and that was the end of it. Not true. Not true. It's still their best, and it's absolutely up there as like pinnacle US death metal kind of stuff that everyone needs to own. This is the old Repulse Blackened release from way back in the day. There is this as well, the Echoes from the Past, which is I think it's all sort of previous EPs and demos and stuff like that. Been a while since I put this one on. It's a Razorback Records deal that came out. But what I learned as well is that the band was still going. And it was 2023. We had the Rebirth album came out, and the only person left in the band is the original vocalist guitarist. But it's a really solid album. It's only got one average track on it. Otherwise, it's a really solid album. So I picked that up, and then I also realized, and it was just kind of coincidental timing. I think I picked this up on, I think it was Facebook Marketplace. There was one in the middle called The Faithless. Which is actually better than the newest one. It's not as good as In Ancient Beliefs, but I think it's a little bit better than the latest album. And this is what, like 2010? Yeah, 2010. So there was a bit of, there's this whole period here in the middle I didn't even know it existed. This came out on Extreme Music, which is Repulse Records' follow-up, which was the follow-up to Drowned Productions way back in the day. So yeah, Deteriorate, they're still going in some form or another, and it's still really solid stuff. So yeah, that's a band that's a bit of a reunion for me, 2024. Question number 13. Upstart. Name a band whose debut album recently really impressed you. And it didn't have to come out in 2024, but relatively recently. Well, this question was easy enough for me to answer because my number one album of 2024, if you have gone and seen that video, was a debut album from that band. I had never even heard of them, and that was Aberration with Demonolatry. I had no idea who this band was. They had done apparently a demo, I think 2 years prior, and some people seem to have been aware of it, but I had not been aware of that whatsoever. And I do need to pick up that demo. But this thing, I've already talked about this a few times. I talked about it on the Heavy Metallurgy stream, on my top 2024 video. On the pickup, when I picked up this thing, I talked about it. But it's fantastic. It is a nasty and pretty savage, direct frontal assault of black death metal, thrashy, nasty mix of Order from Chaos and early, very obvious Altars of Madness, Morbid Angel, and Sadistic Intent and all that really good stuff. It's so good, and yeah, absolute upstart band for me. I didn't know who they were. I love the cover, love everything about this here. Jeff at Mendicant Media has completely ruined this one now, this sigil, because he said it looked like Pusheen the cat. Kind of looks like an elephant to me, but hey. Why did you have to do that to me, Jeff? But anyway, yeah. Aberration with Demonolatry. Fantastic release for an upstart band. Question number 14. Influencer. Show a band or release that you bought in 2024 as a direct result of watching someone's YouTube channel. This was an easy one for me, and it went straight to number 4 on my end of year list. It was higher for a little bit of time there, but it was a very competitive end of year. But number 4 on my end of year list was Tim Voss with World of Abominations, and I owe this entirely to Liam, the Death Doom Metalhead, his channel. He showed this off, it looks to be in about 9 months ago. This is a Scottish death metal band that are authentically 1991 sounding, as I've said before. I watched Liam's video as I watch most of his videos, and I watched it just in time to order what appeared to be the very last of 100 copies on Tim Voss's Bandcamp. And I remember I put it into the cart, and I don't know, someone else must have been watching the video, because I put it in the cart, went to check out, and it said it was gone. I went, shit, I've missed it. went back to the Bandcamp, refreshed it, and there was one there again. So it's like that deal where I think they sort of someone puts it in their cart and they kind of hold it for a bit and they decrease the number, but then they return it. I managed to get it, so I'm sorry if I snuck it from under you, but hey, you let your card expire. Tim Boss, World of Abominations. Yeah, big props to Liam Death Doom Metalhead for mentioning this one because it's a fantastic release. Question 14. Don't judge a book by its cover. Show a great album with a bad cover art. I mean, this is heavy metal. We could do so many for this one. But the first one that came to me, we're going all the way back to 1984. Snow White with All Hail to Thee. Another I picked up, I think it was last year in that wonderful collection I was working my way through. It's a savage 1984 speed metal, very punky, kind of snot-nosed attitude release. But that cover is garbage. That's your debut album cover? That's the I forgot to submit my album cover. I mean, the logo is cool. I like the Z, but everything else, sorry, you're getting an F grading on this one. It's a fantastic release though. It's practically an EP. It's 17 minutes, but apparently it's classed as an album. Has really great bratty sounding vocals from Nicole Lee, whose real name is Sue Sharp. So I don't know why she went from Sue to Nicole, but anyway. But this cover is crap. It reminds me of that Van Halen cover, and I've got no love for Van Halen, so that sours it even more. But look, it's a great release. Even the back's terrible. I would have just if you just blew that up with a little. This has got more art in it. It's like a forest and a castle or something. This has got more design in it than the rest of it. If you blew that up, just put a big Z in the center, it would have been better than this. Anyway, stupid name, Snow White with a Z. All hail to thee. But yeah, I'm not hailing the graphic designer. Question number 16. Rembrandt. Show an album whose cover art was created by one of your favorite artists. Well, the first thing that came to mind, like if we just put aside all of the expected, Ed Repkas and all that kind of stuff, put all that aside, I was thinking more modern. I'm like, this cover artwork, every time I look at it, just makes me so happy and throw up a little. This Cryptworm spewing mephitic putridity. It's even better when you gatefold it out and get a bit more. For this. This is just death metal personified. And this is from, is his signature on the front? Probably buried in there somewhere. I don't know. Sometimes they make it so hard you can't find it. Could be there, could not be there. But this is from an artist called Skadvalda, who has done plenty of other really good releases, plenty good cover artwork. He did Cryptic Brood, Outcome of Obnoxious Science, Coffin Rot, A Monument to the Dead, Evoker, Evil Torment, that was a really good one. Obscene, From Dead Horizon to Dead Horizon, and Sovereign, Altered Realities from this year. So, yeah, he's done some really good stuff, and it's all kind of varied. He's got multiple styles, so I really like that about him. You don't, get the same thing over and over again. But yeah, this one particularly, this Cryptworm, oh yeah. Blah. Question 17. Name an album you would like to see reissued on vinyl or CD, your preferred medium. Well, I mean, I don't know if I've got a preferred medium. I like vinyl, I like CD. But in either case, I'm sorted for these two. I don't require a reissue, but I know the 99% of the VC require a reissue. But yeah, I was kind of lucky over time to get the originals of these ones, and that is Monstrosity, Imperial Doom, and Cemetery and Evil Shade of Grey. This is the original Nuclear Blast USA, is it? No, maybe it's just Nuclear Blast, and this is the original Black Mark. And yes, I had to go through them fine-tooth comb to make sure they weren't the Russian bootlegs, because these things are bootleg to hell. Those boots are getting better, and I'm sure there's a lot of you watching that have knowingly bought the bootlegs going, well, I can't get anything else. Because you can't. No idea what's going on with that monstrosity. Nuclear Blast will shit out so many things, but they have not reissued this album. I showed this online ages ago, and one of the band members said that even he didn't have a copy. I don't know what's going on with that. And then we got Cemetery and Evil Shade of Grey. Apparently an LP it nearly snuck out the door, I think last year, and then, I don't know, rights issues or something cancelled it before it was shipping out. I recall somebody telling me that. So I don't know what's going on. I'm okay with my originals. I'm more than okay. These are 90s original CDs. I don't need to sort anything out here. I've in many cases I have replaced a reissue vinyl with an original CD, so I'm good. I don't need these upgraded, but I think a lot of you do, and for that reason alone, we need to get these two albums back into circulation. We need there to be CDs and LPs, the same way Dismember's reissued all their stuff now. I'm good with what I've got, but it's great that they're out there again, and we need to get Monstrosity and Cemetery out there again too. Question 18. Name an album from a genre that you don't typically listen to very much. Look, I'm a metal guy. 99% of this collection is metal in some way, shape, or form. Even some of the stuff which you could say, others might say are not metal, there's generally got riffs in it, and that's close enough to me for it to be metal. But I guess the main other thing that I listen to sometimes, well, there's two things. I guess I put on some dark ambient every now and then, pretty rarely, but sometimes. Yeah, it can be quite soothing. But what I have started getting a bit more of than usual is horror soundtracks, and I mean proper soundtracks, not like your Queen of the Damned soundtrack, which is just a bunch of new metal shit. I mean actual composers. And this one came out last year on Record Store Day. The only thing on Record Store Day I bought was the Zombie 3 soundtrack. I mean, yes, of course I was going to. A Bruno Mattei zombie horror with a bit of Fulci influence and the soundtrack version and this cover artwork. Of course I was going to buy it. And it's, it's got Goblin tracks on it. It's got Louis Bacallo, who does sort of the main stuff that isn't stolen. I mean, yeah, Goblin track. And Gianni Della Soro. So it's a mix of stuff here. And yeah, having the Goblin tracks, I mean, it's generally been said for years that Bruno stole the music, but look, he probably just leased it through someone who got it from someone else, and then it came around to Goblin later saying, "What? We didn't approve that." Yeah, well, someone in your line of fire probably approved it. So anyway, it's a cool soundtrack, and it works well because of the stolen Goblin tracks. I mean, it's got the Dawn of the Dead zombie song on here. So you're getting a mix of things you already knew from other horror movies, if you didn't know this one. But then you actually get the really cool original music that was made for Zombie 3. So, yeah, this is my Record Store Day purchase. Come on an appropriately nice orange wax. And I had to get it because it was just so utterly ridiculous. The fact that a Record Store Day exclusive was a Bruno Mattei zombie film that a lot of people don't like. Of course I was buying it, and I played it quite a bit, and I do have a few other modern releases of horror soundtracks of sort of 70s and 80s stuff, and yeah, I'll probably end up getting a few more. It's not the stuff I play a lot, but I do enjoy it when I do. Question 19. What band do you hope to see in 2025 live? I've actually got 2 tickets already sorted, might end up with 3, but in January, in this month, in a couple of weeks, I am seeing Cavalera, which is just half of the original Sepultura lineups, the Cavalera brothers. I think it's got Igor's son on bass or something like that. So there's 3 Cavaleras and someone else doing sort of the lead guitar kind of thing. I think that's how the lineup works. And that's originally when they've come out here before. He came out, did the Beneath Arise tour stuff. And I should have gone, but I didn't go to that because I saw a lot of live footage where Max was kind of looking, not that great. And watching him play, he'd play like one string and then do a lot of jump the fuck up. And he wasn't doing much. And the other guitarist was doing it all. I'm like, do I really need to see this? I heard it was apparently a very good concert. But now it's kind of evolved a bit more. We have these re-recordings of the first EP and the first 2 albums, which are not bad. I don't feel the need to own them, but they're not bad. Certainly, I've heard far worse recordings, re-recordings. And he's coming out, the Cavalera are coming out and doing just that, Bestial Devastation, Morbid Visions, and Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is my favorite Sepultura album. They're playing all that. Apparently, he's looking a lot more enthused and invigorated, and having one of the sons involved in the band now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It should be a fun night out, very retro experience. And it kind of ticks a box for me that I wanted to, back in 1997, when I was 17, I was supposed to go to the big day out to see Sepultura, who were just just done Roots, and yeah, back then I was 16, 17. I quite liked Roots when it came out. It didn't hold with me for a long time, of course, but I was a big Chaos AD kid. At this point, I'd seen like 2 bands live, and I was about to go to Big Day Out to see 30 bands I could give a shit about, but Sepultura. And at last minute, Max injured himself and couldn't come. And I was like, oh man, what a waste of a ticket. But they were replaced with Fear Factory. So my frown became a smile because they were just, at that time, equal band for me. I got to see, Demanufacture live, and I was happy lad. But yeah, I never got to see proper Sepultura in the old days, and I never saw them at all when the lineup changed. I never saw any of it. So this is about as close as I'm going to get, and I get to see all of the stuff. This is why it's really cool. Even if I'd seen them back then, it would have been a lot of Roots and Chaos material. But this time, it's going to be all of that early shit. And if there's any time left, they're going to throw in something like Beneath the Remains and Arise. Like Roots will not get touched. I guarantee it when I see this set. So that's going to be great. And then 7 days later is Mayhem, who this will be the 4th time I've seen Mayhem. And that's really cool. They're always a good set. The last time I saw them was only last year, and they did a sort of a 3 mini sets kind of thing. They did a modern set with a lot of demon material. Then they did a Demistress set in the middle, and then they did a Death Crush set, and they did costume changes between each of them. Don't know what they're doing this time around. We will see how they mix it up. But yeah, it's always entertaining to watch them. We've got Enforcer from Sweden playing at a very local, very small, cheap venue, so I might go see that. Otherwise, I don't know what else is happening in 2025 yet. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things, and hopefully we'll be going to them. Question number 20, last question for the Metal Tag 2025. In closing, tell your viewers about 2 new to me, YouTube channels that you discovered in 2024, or just shout out 2 channels you enjoy. Well, I decided to pick 2 that were new to me. One of them, at least, was new in this year, just about, like, or maybe an extra month or something. But the first one here, I'm not too actually sure when he started, but needs more love. Stormwind 79 goes by name James. This is a really cool channel, very laid back, very varied. He goes from hard rock, which is not so much my bag. There's a lot of Kiss reissues and stuff in there, but then he spends a lot of the time in black metal, which is, hey, that's where we cross our paths. And he's very thorough in his reviews. He sort of does, the usual pickup videos, collection overviews. So like just goes through all these black metal records, and whichever chunk we're up to at that next video, does really nice video responses and stuff. Quite active in his videos. Usually about 3 or so a month, and he's only got 500 subscribers or 550, something like that. Usually only 100 or 200 views per video. So do go check out James at Stormwind 79. I quite enjoy watching his stuff. It's very laid back. It's almost retro style YouTube channel. So your 2011 kind of period where turn the camera on and just go. And I enjoy it. I enjoy watching him for that. So give him a watch. Tell James that Simon Explosive Action sent you along. And also I've got to be remiss of me not to shout out another Aussie lad, but Maddox Deep Shadows. Geez, the man likes his beers as much as he likes his black metal. He swears like a sailor, and he's not one for the kiddies to watch. But anyone that opens a Corona bottle with a claw hammer, you're getting my views, good sir. He gets into the most raw demo quality black metal kind of stuff that he can muster up. Bands I've not heard of, which is really impressive, like lots of worldwide black metal bands that he's really dug into, and I haven't heard of. Some I have, many I have, but there's a lot that he pulls out. I'm like, I don't know who this is, and I'm very interested. He puts in samples in between so you can hear what they sound like, which is always good. His tangents and rambles can make me laugh and make my own beer come out my nose, so he's always a grand watch. His favorite band, though, is him, his Infernal Majesty. I won't hold that against him. Just kidding. But yeah, go check out Maddox. He's fun watch. And yeah, if you like somebody with their beers open with a claw hammer or with a spanner or on the side of a car, go check out Maddox. And that's it. That is the Metal Tag 2025. Big thanks to Marty and Alan for putting this one together again this year. I will leave a link in the description and also the tile probably at the end here for you to go check out the original of that and get a copy of the questions. They'll be in the description of the original video. And yeah, go check that one out. And make sure you check out everyone else's in the VC who's doing a response to this. They're always fun. And I've only seen one so far, but we're 1 day into the year, 2 days for us in Australia. We're here in the future. But yeah, good way to start the year, good way for new channels to get a bit of exposure. Thanks, Marty and Alan, again. And yeah, thanks to you for watching. And again, go check out my end of year 2024 video if you've not done so. Link will also be here, along with the metal tag video, which will be here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.